All right, folks, we're going to get started. Good morning, everybody. My name is Zdrojewski, and I am a technology education teacher at Amherst Middle School, which is just outside of Buffalo, New York. I've been doing that for about 14 years now, this will be. And for the past 2 years, I am now an online adjunct instructor at Canisius College, also in Buffalo, in the Education Technologies Department. So we certify teachers in New York State to be EdTech certified. I'm recording the presentation today using Camtasia, which is one of the tools I'll be talking about. So I have in this 30-minute presentation, what usually is about a 2-hour presentation, all condensed in. So I'm going to talk pretty quick, try to cover all the material, but remember you can always refer back to my website, which is, I'll have the slide up at the end, robztraining.com, where I will hopefully be able to place the recording of this presentation today. So let's go for it. All right, first of all, the term screencast. We talk about the future of video in the realm of education. Well, if the future of the web is video, which is a common term we keep hearing a lot about, that video specifically would be known as a screencast, a recording of your screen. So I have a couple of quotes here that I pulled online. What are the common terms of what a screencast is? A digital recording of a computer screen or a tablet screen in many cases now, often containing audio narration. The screencast, they allow students to move at their very own pace, so it really allows for personalization, since they can pause or review the content anytime, anywhere. And this is what I mean by teacher on demand. We have movies on demand, sports on demand. Why not have learning on demand? I call this outsourcing yourself to yourself. So there's 20-some of me in the room for the 20-some students that I teach at the middle school level. They all can pause, rewind, fast forward me as needed, both in class when they're with me and before class and even after class. So it's still me they're learning from as their teacher, as the central figure, but the information is consumable at any time because of video technology. Also, a screencast is excellent for those learners who need the oral as well as a visual explanation of the content presented. All right, so I have a couple examples to start out with. First one, in my realm of being a higher ed teacher, my weekly action items lists. This has been something that I created as a result of being a student when I went for my second master's in administration. I was always, what's the best word for it? I was always frustrated when I knew there was a ton of things to do that week in the online course because my program was completely online. But I just needed to know, where do I go? What button do I click on? What should I do? I wasn't complaining about there was too much work. It was just I want to know how to get to it and be the most efficient, because as most people in my position, we have the full-time job and we're doing the online program all at the same time. So to make it as efficient as possible, I said it would be great if the instructors all had an action items list. So for example, when you see number 2, this is the first week in my 504 course, watch this screencast for an overview of our course syllabus. So you can click on the hyperlink that's there, which leads you to a video of the instructor now introducing him or herself and going through the syllabus piece by piece. Well, hello everybody. My name is Zdrojewski, and I am the instructor for your EDT 504 course at Canisius College. What I want to take here is a moment to show you the highlights of our syllabus together for. So how many of you do something like this already, as most likely a syllabus introduction? Okay, it's a great way to give, you can see I made a contact with that person. I know what his or her face looks like, so I have some sort of personal connection with the instructor, and especially in an online course. And now you can go through and talk about those nitty-gritty details about the printed up syllabus in kind of a visual format. So that's the first time the students officially see me as the instructor in our courses, is by seeing the syllabus discussed. And then anywhere there's a hyperlink here, I have the ability to make a screencast. So one of the first big assignments they do is post a video introduction of themselves. So they can post their multimedia introduction, they click on that link right there, and they get a similar screencast to one you saw earlier. So it really helps to streamline the process, be as efficient as possible, and it reduces the amount of questions that I would get back, like where do I go, what website should I log in on, what was the red button you talked about, that kind of thing, because they're seeing it and hearing it together in the form of a screencast. So back to my other examples here. Next two are in my K-12 world, teacher-produced screencast videos. Let's see, this one I have is a project we do with our 7th and 8th graders about creating spreadsheets. So the first time they're learning about formulas being the heart and soul of making a spreadsheet. So I'll jump to video number 3 here, and you can see it's a multi-step project. Kids in my class can work on these at any pace. Some will finish this project in 2-3 class periods, some will take a week or more. But this gives them the ability now to watch these videos before class, kind of do the hard stuff at home, come to the class and do the hard stuff in class, do the easy stuff at home, which is consuming the new information. So in this case, I have to open link that way. And you'll see another similar looking video made with TechSmith products, which I'm going to be demonstrating in a moment here. This one made with what's called TechSmith Relay, which is a new type of tool that TechSmith has out there that I want to focus on today. So I usually like to put myself in the corner.
Now, our next step is to format the first row.
Because I feel like it's important to learn from a person and not feel like you're learning from a computer screen. So my personal philosophy is put myself in the picture, in a little picture-in-picture window throughout the presentation, especially for 10, 11, 12-year-olds that I work with. So they feel like they're still learning from the teacher. They know I'm over there. They can come to me and ask me face-to-face if they have a question in class. But at least this way, when they're watching it outside of class, they still feel like they're receiving instruction from me. And again, they can fast forward, rewind, and pause. And a really cool thing, too, is like on many YouTube videos now, if I'm talking way too fast, slow me down a little bit. Or if the kid's really good at what they're doing, they're like, I got it, I'll speed them up a bit and go to 1.5 speed. So I like that ability to be able to, within any of the videos, choose your speed at which you want to go at. And that helps you to consume information quicker or slower, depending on your particular learning style. And to my third example, which is student-produced screencasts. It's not just the teachers that should be making these videos. Students can make them as well. I decided that instead of kind of writing an essay at the end of a unit, explaining all the work that they've done in their ultimate bedroom design project, the kids get a fictitious $30,000. They have to use a lot of technology tools, such as spreadsheets for budgeting, 3D floor plan, Edmodo for brainstorming and sharing, Evernote for web research. A lot of digital tools are used for this project. At the end, I want them to showcase in a 5-minute or less video, kind of like a video show and tell, what they've learned over the past couple of weeks. So in these videos here, if I just go to one from, I like the one from Simon here, they take you on a tour of what they did.
Today I will be showing you our dream bedroom project.
He's in his bedroom, in his house, making this video.
Project was from $30,000.
Let me jump to the end where he shows the 3D design.
I got table, 2 TVs, desk, drawers.
So in this particular project, there was a lot of technology used, and I wanted them to be able to showcase to someone that's never seen this project before, what were all those pieces of the puzzle that they've learned to use to do planning on a major project such as this. Now my content area is technology education, so yes, everything I do is basically on a computer screen. But if I was a science teacher or a foreign language teacher or a math teacher, they might be recording a whiteboard instead of recording a computer screen. It might be recording worksheets or PowerPoint slides that I've created or PDFs. So it doesn't just have to apply screencasting to a technology class like myself, but really any curricular area could be using screencasting as a way to deliver direct instruction instead of doing it always face-to-face. So back to our slideshow here. And what I have done now is, I want to do a demonstration first so you can see what this is like. This is a real screencast that I have kind of on my plate to record for Scott, someone that I work with. He wants to know, I'm going to kill 2 birds with 1 stone here. He wants to know, how do you take a slideshow made in Google Drive and make it so that it's on kiosk mode, so that it plays through like you can hit play and let it run, recycle all the way over and over and over again. So how do you do that in here? So I'm going to make a screencast for him and at the same time show you guys how simple it is to make one. The program I'm going to use, I have many choices here, is TechSmith Relay. And TechSmith Relay is software that I have installed. It works on both Windows and Mac. We're going to sign in with our Google account, or you can create a TechSmith account. And this is what would be called an enterprise level solution. This is tied to my school district. So you can see the domain there of amherstschools.org. So every user in our organization has the ability to use this. They just simply install the software on a home computer, a school computer, you name it, and then they can just log in as themselves and make their videos. This is why I like Relay. They've streamlined it so there's not a lot of bells and whistles to worry about. Basically, you can see there's a test button to make sure the mic's working, but I can see it is, and then the big red record button. So I'll hit the big red record button, and we are now recording. So let me switch us over to the screen I want up, which is here. All right, so here we go. In 3, 2. Hi Scott, it's Rob Z here, and I'll show you how to do that trick we were talking about the other day. When you have open your Google slide presentation, you're going to go to File, and then Publish to the Web. And you're going to get the option here to start publishing, and you'll have to say yes to it. It's going to put it up there on the web. And the options that I always change for this, I like to go to the large size, so the slides are really big. I think 3 seconds is kind of short, so let's make it 5 seconds for each slide. And then check the 2 boxes so that it loads up right away, and then it repeats itself. Now that's really all you have to do. So the link that you need is that right there. You can copy that link and then send that off to somebody in an email, or even they give you the nice little shortcut there to use Gmail and send a link to whoever it needs to go to. So that is the workflow. You can see there it is. We just send it to whoever it needs to go. So I hope that screencast makes sense. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks. All right, so 101 that was. Now on purpose, I started off with some footage that I don't want Scott to see.
And we are now recording, so let me switch
So
over to screen.
I will find that moment.
Just here. All right, so here we go. In 3, 2.
So I'm going to pause it there, and I'm going to trim it. So what's in red there will be cut out. That won't be in the actual video. So there are some basic trimming capabilities if you need to do that from the front end or the back end. And I think that is good to go. So I'll say, Scott, this is the slideshow demo, and then submit. That's all I have to do. What's happening right now behind the scenes is it's uploading it to the servers at TechSmith. It's going to kick back a link for me that I can, there it is right there, that I can now provide to Scott through email, and now he goes online and he gets to watch that. I even get to find out if he watched it, what percentage of he watched. Did he watch half of it? Did he watch the whole thing? I could even, and I'll be showing this, hopefully I got time to do this, build in some questions along the way. So I can quiz Scott to see maybe halfway through, I ask him a question about how many seconds should each slide be. So you have advanced capabilities here, analytics and quizzing features, if you want to use them as well. So I'll show you those coming up. So that's how simple it is to use specifically TechSmith Relay. I tend to use Snagit for a lot of recordings. Anybody ever used Snagit before? TechSmith Snagit? Okay, for making screenshots or screencast videos. I demonstrated that here in a workshop on Monday. So that I have running up on the side there too, which is another program I could use. But Snagit is, even though it's a simple program, there's still a learning curve for it. I feel like TechSmith Relay, I could give that to my least tech-savvy faculty, and they could use that within 5 minutes to basically DVR themselves, DVR their lesson as they're teaching it, and out at the end, after you hit the big red record button, hit upload, and it's in a place where you can use it. Now, if this worked well, I can check my email, depending on how our wrong email, this one, and I will get a email that says your video is now ready to watch, because it does take time to upload and get processed on their end. Probably in about 5 minutes, we'll see an email that looks similar to this one. In this case, though, this one's about a video that I had quiz questions built into. So every night around 8 p.m., I get a quiz report. So I could see yesterday some people were watching my videos. They were taking the quizzes. I could see the score they were receiving on it. And if I want the nitty-gritty detail, I can open up what's attached, which are some spreadsheets to look at. So Relay is really a nice all-in-one app that is totally cloud-based. So it stores everything there. You work on adding your questions all in the cloud. So if you're interested in looking at more, techsmith.com/relay. I was on the other site here a moment ago. Is where you can get more information about an enterprise video solution. This is really becoming popular in the K-12 space, but also at higher ed, where you have an entire faculty that want to be able to make screencasting without the traditional way of buying specific licenses and licensing each machine. Now the model is different. Now you're licensing the users instead of licensing the machines. That allows you to install the software on all the machines you want. If you've got a lab, go ahead and put it on all the machines in the lab. You don't have to buy specific licenses for each individual workstation. All right, let me get back on track here and take us back to... All right, so here's my top 10 list. Since, as you can imagine, I teach a lot of people at higher ed and at K-12 how to do screencasting, and I work with those faculty that are not really tech savvy, and these are the top 10 questions that they will ask me. Number one is, how do I encourage across the whole organization video creation, so the whole department, the whole school, the whole district can do it? Number two, how do I get students involved? And three, what easy-to-use tool can I use to create my content? You probably know already, I'm really recommending TechSmith Relay for that now, since it is a good enterprise-level solution. What specs should I use? What file sizes, what formats? A lot of different frame rates. There's all that technical stuff. Good thing is with Relay, you don't have to worry about it. It's already preset for you. Number five is, how and where should I save and host my videos? Because I want them to be available so I can email them out, so they could be on my learning management system, so it could be in Angel or Blackboard or Desire to Learn or Edmodo or whatever the case is. Also, how do I know if anyone actually watches it? How do I know if my students are understanding what they're watching? Are they hitting play and then going and making a sandwich and coming back and making it look like they watched it? Can I make videos using my work, my home, or my tablet computers, so I can be flexible where I make my content? How can I ensure that my videos are secure and private, so I have control over who gets access to them? And can I record myself, putting a little picture-in-picture window there? Now, from what I've demonstrated so far, you probably know the answers to many of them, but I'll go through them one by one so we can elaborate a little bit. Number one, how do I encourage video creation? Well, I like to showcase the in-the-trenches examples to increase buy-in. And this link is going to take us to, if it does it right, to my blog, which is robztraining.com. Back in February of this year, when I got my first look at trying out TechSmith Relay after I attended the FETC conference in Orlando in January, I was really impressed with what it can do. So I made a little screencast of my first impressions here. You can check that out on my blog at robztraining.com. And I think that's a great way to have to influence other teachers so that they can see the teacher down the hall is using it, and here's what he or she thinks about it, and here's what he or she is making with it. So anytime you can feature colleagues that people would be familiar with, I think is a very positive thing. Removing the technical barriers so anyone can do this, not just the tech-savvy folks or the IT staff to make these. You have the ability, and this is just a screenshot showing you here, when you're logged into your TechSmith Relay account, the big red button is right there to download the recorder. Again, it goes on to any Mac or any PC. You don't have to even have any serial numbers to put in. It automatically gives you a custom download for your organization, which has all the saving locations all set by your IT department. It has serial numbers, it has user accounts, everything's all built in. So this is a file that you can't just download and give to anybody. It's specific to you as a user at your organization. So they've even made the installation process easy so that any average user, as long as they have permissions, can download and install the software on their own and not have to contact the IT department necessarily to do the downloading and installation for them. And streamlining the process, as I showed you, Relay really removes a lot of options so that you can just get right down to the recording with that big red button. Next one is number 2. How do I get the students involved in video creation? Well, I have required class projects like the one you saw with Simon in the spreadsheet project. We have extracurricular video production clubs, so before school and after school. We have clubs where kids want to make videos, and we survey the teachers. I use Google Forms for that, and I say, what's the top maybe 3 things you want to learn about being better at Gmail? You know, what are those things you really have seen others do that you want to know how to do too? Then we take those top requests and we make custom videos for them. So it's kind of a fun way for kids to get involved, to be teachers, by helping the teachers out using tools. And I like the last one, empowering kids to ask them to research a topic or a tool. I had one called Go Animate. Has anyone ever used Go Animate before? Really good K-12 product there to get kids to make videos. They set the stage, pick their characters, record their voices, and within 1 or 2 class periods make these really elaborate videos, animated videos, about sales pitches or the election results or anything at all. And I wanted to learn that program more, but I, unlike the kids, I don't have a lot of time to do that. Teaching in higher ed, teaching in K-12 full-time, all that, and had kids at home, there's just too much going on. So I can outsource that to the kids. I explain to them, can I have you, I'll give you a license for Go Animate, can you figure it out? Teach me how to do it, and they make videos that then teach me how to do it. So kids really are into that. I know maybe not everyone here is K-12, but if you can get college kids as well to be doing, college students to be doing that as well, that's sometimes an empowering thing, to be able to make a screencast and be the expert on something. Yes?
Any pushback that the student didn't have the available resources to do this, that either at home or time they had to go to their local library or anything?
No, because I make sure before I ask the child, I see what they have available to them. If need be, we can lend out a Chromebook or see if they have a tablet. Many of the district I'm in, I would say probably at least 90% of kids have a device at home that would be that would work. But those few that don't, they can work with me before school, after school, lunch periods, study halls, that kind of thing. But you're right, equity is always an issue to think about, but luckily it's becoming less and less of an issue as time goes on. If I'm thinking just back to 5 years ago, probably only 60-70% of kids would have a device at home. Now we're above 90%. So fortunately, it's getting better in that aspect. Number 3, let's see, we've got about 10 minutes to go here. All right, number 3, what easy-to-use tool can I use to create my content? Those are the ones that I have experience in using. These are software products that you install. Yes, there are ones online such as screencast-o-matic.com that work completely in the browser. They're Java-based, which means in a school, especially a K-12 environment, the IT staff locks everything down tight. Our staff doesn't even allow kids to get to YouTube. So it's, I could go off on a political rant here, but I won't do that. But basically, this is software that we have either purchased or the first one is free, Jing, that you install on a Windows or a Mac. And in many cases now you can even use it on a Chromebook, because Snagit for Chromebooks, Snagit for Chrome just came out a few months ago. These are the ones that I have used. But the bottommost one is the one I recommend. As you might imagine, it's also the most expensive, but it is the most convenient to get a lot of people on board, especially if the whole school is going one-to-one or initiating a flipped learning type of initiative. TechSmith Relay is good for the enterprise level. Number 4, about the specs. What should I use? There's size, format, dimensions, pixels to worry about. When using TechSmith Relay, you don't have to worry about that. If your IT staff wants to do something specific, like allow you to send your video to a certain location on their network, they would be able to configure that centrally so that all the users don't have to worry about that. They just hit submit to the cloud and it goes to where the IT staff wants it to go. But in most cases, it's hosted on the TechSmith Relay site, so they are the ones that host your videos. That then gives you the ability to share out with groups of people, to do email notifications that get sent automatically, the analytics, the building in of questions, a lot of the advanced features there. So the suggestion is to stick with what they have set up inside of TechSmith to use their hosting settings there. The default is full screen recording too, by the way. At first I didn't like that because when I make my screencast, sometimes I choose just certain parts of the screen, but I can see why it makes it less confusing. Just record the entire screen. So what you see is what you get, including the ability to put yourself in the bottom right-hand corner with a picture-in-picture window using the webcam. So they've removed a lot of the bells and whistles to make it easy for people. Number 5 is how and where should I save and host my videos? I've used all the ones you see on the screen. Most commonly the one on the far right, screencast.com, which is also supported by or carried by TechSmith. But TechSmith Relay again builds in the quizzing, the analytics, and makes sure that it is accessible really from all devices. YouTube will do certain things like it'll let you see how many times a video was viewed, but you can't see an individual users. Did Johnny Smith see it? Did Nicole Jones see it? That kind of thing you just can't see with YouTube. And of course, Google Drive is a good option too. I like Google Drive because I know if I have a video I make that has some copyrighted music in it, not that I'm trying to break copyright laws, but it may get red flagged if it's up on YouTube. If it's in Google Drive, it won't. But if it's in TechSmith Relay, it definitely won't because we kind of own that space and can control who has access to it. Yes?
Any simple editing tools does it provide? Chop it in half or?
If you remember, when I made the one probably about 10 minutes ago, from the front end and the back end, there are trimming capability, but not in the center as of right now. That is something that they are likely going to work on because if you've seen Snagit, only about a month ago, Snagit made the ability now to trim within anywhere within the clip. Set your in point, your out point, and then chop it out. So that already exists in Snagit. I would assume that's going to come to TechSmith Relay next, but at least as of now, you can trim off the front end and the back end for editing capability. Number 6, how do I know if anyone actually watches my videos? So the detailed viewing analytics. Let's see if I can load up an actual video, and if not, I have a screenshot prepared to show you. So this is one of the videos that I've made here about class critiques on a screencasting summary project. All right, so my purpose of this is showing you analytics. It'll take a little bit of time to load up, and I have all of my viewers are listed here. In this case, it was I don't know how many, that's about 20 some people there. So these are students. When they watch the video, they are prompted to log in. The login is simple though because they're using their existing Google accounts. So they're familiar with using that for Gmail and Google Docs and everything else. So you have to be logged in, of course, so that the system knows who you are. These are the students. This is the percent that they viewed them. And I like the graphic they give here. I can see that 64% of them have completed it. That helps me to know, especially if this class is prepared. Now, I don't have them broken down by group, but I could. I could have show me period 1, period 3, period 6, period 8. And I could have it narrowed down that way so I can see the differences between. If I want to see who only partially watched it, maybe these are the students I need to target and see, why did you not watch it? Is there a reason why? And I'm surprised it actually says less than 1. I've never seen that before. But it makes it very, very easy to tell which students are really watching and are not watching, especially if I need to see this data before I teach a lesson. I can see, looks like most of them are on board. They saw the video I made the day before, so now I can move on with the next lesson. So that's kind of a nice built-in feature there. And as I mentioned earlier, YouTube only provides the view counts, so you won't actually know who the individuals were that watched it.
I have a question.
Yes?
So all your students have Google accounts. What about in higher ed where our students have come with their own emails? How do they get watched?
You can set the domain that they are all coming from. So I believe you could say anyone with a at gmail.com account would have access to it. There's also ways to set up your TechSmith Relay account where you give out a code, basically like an invite ticket, and they can use that code to register, and now they're a member of your organization. So in our case, we took the easy route, which is only let people in that have an Amherst Schools account, but we could have set it up the other way where we give you a ticket, and now you register using the special code. So either or would work. Yes?
What about accessibility? Can you do closed captioning?
Not with TechSmith Relay, but with Camtasia, you can. Anyone familiar with Camtasia? I'm actually using it right now to do this full screen recording. Camtasia does have a spoken voice to text converter to be able to make accessible videos. So you could make your videos with Camtasia as your recorder and then send them to your Relay account, because all the TechSmith products, all 5 or 6 products, they all feed into TechSmith Relay. So if you have that specific need, that would be the recommendation. And make sure you don't leave, because within the next couple minutes here before I go, TechSmith has graciously given us a copy of Camtasia for Mac. It's a $100 value, and Camtasia for Windows, which is like a $175 value. So I have 2 of those to hand out too, as little bonus prizes there. All right, so adding questions now. How do I know my students actually understand what they watch? Well, here's a sample video with questions, one that I've already made to show you. I've built in 2 questions. And if I go full screen with it here, let's see, first we got to hit play. And our next step now is to create, let me pause it here, go full screen. You're going to see some dots. There's 1 dot down there, so if I go to the point in the video there and play it, watch what happens when it reaches it. 144, running it automatically for me. That's the real magic behind the spreadsheet. So the magic behind the spreadsheet, it jumped in. Take quiz now. You must always type an equal sign. We'll say true, submit our answer, and I can view my answer, and I got it right. Now I can continue on with the rest of the video. Now what also just happened there was that data was captured so that I get to see that at around 8 p.m. tonight when it emails me those results. I can also go in right now and see it if I wanted to as well. So you can see down later on I have another question built in down there. So as soon as it reaches that, it'll pop up. I'll take that quiz. What do formulas start with? Who knows the answer to that? Equal sign, that's right. Submit the answer, and you get to view if you got it right or wrong right on the spot. Okay. Again, let the technology do the math for you. All right, so I'll close it out of there. So it gives you the detailed report. I think I have a screenshot of that here. And you then can sort that down. Here's the 2 questions that I have asked. If I click the down arrow, I can see how each individual responded and if they received correct or incorrect answers. I can also change it this way and see when they took it. I can sort by any of these columns, even sort it by content watched, which is interesting. If they're getting them right and they're really not watching the content, I can tell that maybe the questions are too easy, or vice versa. And then, of course, the summary that tells me this quiz was taken 197 times, average time the content was viewed, and then the breakdown of the 2 questions is down there. So some really good analytics built in there that you just simply can't get if you're putting them up on YouTube or Google Drive. Adding the questions is quite simple. There's 1 button at the bottom that says add a question. You pick the point in the timeline where you want that question to be, and they could be multiple choice, true, false. They could be open-ended too, which don't automatically grade themselves. So I don't have any questions on here. We go to add questions. Let's say midway through, right about there, and we're going to get a new title name. So we're talking about a title. So I'll say, question could be, how do you add a title? And I could leave this one as being open-ended, where they have to give, instead of multiple choice, I would make it a free response, where now they have to type in, I think you do it by blah, blah, blah. So it's not going to grade itself automatically, but at least I can see what the student's thinking at that point in time. So I'm just about out of time. Let me see what else I have real quickly here before I got to give the room up to the next presenter. Number 8, can I make videos anywhere? Yes, you can. The new model is, of course, install that software anywhere you want, work and at home, doesn't matter. It's all unlimited. The old model was you buy a license per device, and I like how they've switched things around there because it makes it convenient to deploy it on a full lab of computers. Groups are great because now I can create groups, and anytime I make a video I could say this is good for period 3. I'll tag it as period 3. They all get an email that says Mr. Z just gave you a new video. Click on it, watch it, and do it and move on that way. So email notifications are great. And yes, as you saw, you can record yourself in the corner of the screen with a picture-in-picture. If you have questions, you can contact me right at robztraining.com. I'll take a few now while I get the prizes ready. And my contact information and blog is on the bottom. Yes, question?
Can the student ask a question as they're watching it? Can they insert a question?
No, they can only watch. They can't add a question. But the reason why I use Edmodo, that's our learning management system, is that's the place they can go 24/7 and put in a question that they have about what they saw. Chances are another student's going to jump on to answering that question before I even see it. Because we are now a 24/7 learning environment, and there's usually someone online from the class that can help answer questions as they're posted. Yes?
Going back to the accessibility issue, because we use Camtasia in our university, but I never tried the capture and speech-to-text translation.
Okay.
How happy or have you any experience with it? Or?
A little experience on the Windows side. It's about 80% to 85% accurate, but the more you use it, it learns and it adapts.
Okay.
So you can get closer to 90, 95% accuracy.
You have to train it. The
Yes.
more you train it.
Yep. Like many of the Windows programs that do that, yeah, the more you use it, the better that it gets. Yep. All right, I have the 2 prizes. This is how we're going to do it. Who has a birthday coming up within the next week? Anybody? Right there? Okay, well then hang on. Anybody having in the next month? In the month of, let's say, August. All right, for first week in August, anybody? All right, what's the date?
August 5th.
Happy birthday, August 5th. He gets to pick the first prize. You get to pick Windows or Mac.
But I can accept gifts, so you have to.
Okay, so then we'll move on. Anyone between August 6th to the 10th? The 11th to the 20th in August? All right, back there. So there's our first prize winner. Congratulations. And our second prize winner, I was going to say who had just had a birthday. When did you say your birthday was?
It's on July the 30th. It was yesterday.
Okay, anybody have one newer than that? No? All right. So there's our second prize winner right there. I'll be up here for the next maybe 5 minutes or so if you have any quick questions. But thank you for coming today. And I have this recorded, so I'll put it up on robztraining.com. Thanks for coming, guys.